Okay. Welcome everyone to this free mock interview section. As COSENG Limited, we are very passionate about our people in general, whether you are a student or you're in our networking group or you volunteer with us. We are very concerned about your well-being, and we want to make sure that you're doing the best you can, especially when it has to do with interview. We want to make sure that you know what you're doing, that you know the system and all the things that you need to put in place during your interview section, because it's very important that even though you have done some trainings, you are very equipped to crack the interview space, which is very tough. So we are here today to clarify some questions that you might have regarding interview, and we want to also make it as practical as possible. If you go for an interview, how are you supposed to conduct yourself? What are the things that you are going to be expecting? And what kind of situations will you likely face during that interview section? So that's what we're going to be doing today. We can introduce ourselves a little bit just to know each other in no particular order. Can we quickly introduce ourselves? Why are you here? Are you looking for a job? Are you in the UK or you're in Nigeria? And what is your area? Shuksmeki, you are the first in my list. After you, Amy.
Okay, good morning, all.
Good morning.
My name is Chukwemeka Agu, and I live in Nottingham, UK. Yeah, I'm a data analyst trained with COSENG Limited. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Amy. After that, Marvelous.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chukwemeka. I live in Newcastle, and I'm here to learn from COSENG and progress. Right now, I'm doing something with Sunderland Football Club as I support staff there. So I'm here to acquire some knowledge. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Amy from Sunderland. Marvelous and Reverend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Marvelous. I live in Darlington, here in United Kingdom. I'm still on training with COSENG, and I also believe I'm looking forward to work as a data analyst in any company here in United Kingdom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, my name is Reverend. Now, because I'm hoping to, when I go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend. The next person on my list is Precious. Then Sulaimon.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Precious, and I live in Kent. I work in compliance, and I saw the stuff about mock prep, and I was interested, and I'm here to learn more about it.
Thank you, Precious from Kent. I have Sulaimon and then Hadiza.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Tajuddin Sulaiman. I live in Liverpool, UK. Um, I'm a care worker, and I'm doing my data analytical training under COSENG. So I wish to switch into tech.
Thank you, Sulaiman. Hadiza,
Yes, ma'am.
tell us your name, why you're here for the free mock interview section, and your work. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Hadiza. I'm in Abuja, Nigeria, and I work with the administration of FCT. So I rounded up a 6 weeks training program. So I want to test my knowledge to see how far, how much I understand, and see if I have to further more or not.
Oh, good. Welcome, everyone. That was a good introduction. We can stay on mute. That's fine. Um, we are two here, myself and Dr. Uchenna Ego, who will be our facilitator. Like I said, the mock interview section is going to be practical. We're going to see how to answer the questions in practical terms and some of the questions that can be coming up. So, Dr. Uchenna, introduce yourself, then can continue from here.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Uchenna Ego. I am one of the founding members of COSENG, and I have a PhD in civil engineering and environmental engineering. I've also worked for a couple of companies here in the UK and overseas. I've been university lecturer here in the UK and overseas. And I work with the UK government now, as an environmental manager, helping the government to do a lot of things in the environmental sector. And very often we have people apply to work for our organizations, and there are many things that that usually stand out, when a candidate comes to present themselves for a job. So today we'll be looking at some of the things that you need to know that usually appease an employer once they call you for an interview. There are some things we say at the beginning of the interview that will make you irresistible, to the employer, and that will give you an edge over every other person coming for the same job. So today, God helping us, let's hope the time will be sufficient to deal with that, because some people usually have all the qualifications, but the problem is usually how to market themselves, because everything about hitting your dream job is packaging, is not always the best person that gets the best job. Is the most packaged person that usually scales through. So today we will make an attempt to guide you on the things you need to know that we get you hired, and depending on how we progress today, we might schedule more time, in the future to look into your resume. Some of you have a wealth of experience that really needs to be carefully packaged in such a way that your resume will be very attractive, and then the interview part of it will now help to bring out what you have there. So today, our emphasis will be on the interview, but in future, maybe we can just join the two: resume, how you can package your resume. And I've been invited in several events to guide people and talk them through how to really make your resume stand out. So today, let's get started. Let's get started and see how far we can go with the interview a bit, and from there we can always know what to do next. Okay, so I want to welcome all of you to today's presentation, or today's. It's going to be an interactive section anyway. It's not going to be like a church service where, or a service where somebody just preaches and you listen. So today I will like it to be very engaging. You know, you can ask any question at all that pertains to interviews. And we can also ask you to know how far, you can attempt to answer them if you face an employer. So welcome everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Uchenna Ewo. That was a detailed introduction. Then myself, I'm Beatrice. I'm also a co-founder of COSENG Limited. Many of you know me here. I'm also a tutor in COSENG, and I'm also a senior data analyst in a reputable organization in the UK. Welcome all of you once again. So let's start. Like I said, it's going to be interactive. If you want to put on your cameras, that would be great. As someone going for an interview, just take it that you have been invited for an interview today, and you came for an interview. What are you supposed to do? Make sure your camera is on. Very important. When you go for an interview, if it's an online interview, I would say before you go for an interview, test your computers, your cameras, make sure that they are working. Test your microphone, make sure that they are working. If you're going to be presenting a slide during your interview, make sure that you've tested that you know how to present your work from PowerPoint, Power BI, or any other source you want to use, medium you want to use to present your slide during your interview. So make sure that you've tested your computers and that they're working. You know how to present a slide, because there's a difference. If you want to present a slide during an interview, there's how you present it. It's not the same as you are sharing your screen during your normal training. So there's how you share your screen during an interview, or when you are presenting a slide during an interview. So that's one of the things that we teach our students as well, how to present your slide. So we'll try and do that here as well. So you need to know that. And when you're also preparing for an interview, you have to dress smart. Don't say just an interview. You see the way Doc is dressing, our reverend is dressing. That's exactly how you dress when you're going for an interview. So you dress very smart. You dress like you're going to get the job. So even from here, as I'm seeing him, I only feel like giving him the job if he came for an interview. You get what I mean? Because he's well dressed and he's prepared to smash the job. So but the first impression does matter. So if you need to shave your hair and smell nice, you do all those things because they kind of capture the interviewer. If it's a face-to-face interview, you have to smell very nice, give yourself a nice shave to get into there. And when you're going there, you put a very warm and nice smile. These are the first things that are very captivating when you're going into an interview. Okay. Now over to you, Dr. Uchenna. What are we going to do next?
Yeah, taking it off from where you stopped. I mean, dressing for an interview really matters, whether it is a face-to-face interview or online interview. Why it matters is because your attire communicates professionalism,
Yeah.
and it also shows the employer your attention to details, okay, and how much you respect the opportunity to work for them. Now, when you are going for an interview, you have to prioritize putting on your professional wears.
Yeah.
You have to wear things that look professional for men I always encourage people to come and on a dark suit,
Yeah.
and a long sleeve shirt, and make sure you polish your shoe.
Yeah.
Make sure you polish
And,
your shoe
and
very,
also
very
for
well.
ladies as well. For ladies, I've never gone for an interview without putting on a suit, not like a suit, maybe blazers and corporate trousers and corporate shoes. Very important as well. So it's not just for men, for ladies as well.
And for ladies, it's better to wear a blouse, and you reduce your accessories, even if you have so many accessories, reduce
Yeah.
them and make sure your shoe is closed toes shoe, closed toes. Don't show them your painted toenails and all
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
And also, for men, don't wear t-shirt, wear collared shirt, and all that. Make sure you look very
Yeah.
smart. And
Example, the way Raven is dressing is very good.
And make sure that you iron your cloth, very important. Even if you're wearing everything nice and they are not ironed, you might find yourself in a very difficult situation. And make sure that you groom your nails very well. All those things matter.
Yeah, they do.
Just check your personal hygiene before going there. Groom your hair, okay? Avoid loud colors. Don't wear loud colors for interviews. People don't know that some of all these things complicate the first message to your employer. They think it's just answering questions. No, how you dress to that interview really matters.
Someone is
Okay,
raising
and
hand. Yeah.
yes,
Precious, you were raising your hand.
All right, thank you. I was going to ask regarding color before Dr. Uchina talked about it. So I was going to say um for women actually, what colors would you like advice or something?
That's a very good question. So for as a lady, if you're going for an interview, avoid wearing things like yellow, red, they don't communicate a good color. But I would say something black trousers should be is perfect. Grayish. You can wear a darker suit like gray, black, purple, dark purple, not too bright. You get what I mean? Not a very bright color that just shows that, oh, but you can just wear something moderately colored. It's fine. And then pack your hair very well. Don't, keep it all covering your face and that they can't even see you anymore. Just look tidy. No too much makeup. If you like to wear red lipstick, it's perfect. But when you're going for an interview, you can tune it down a little bit. No overly too much makeup as well. Just look a bit natural. Does that make sense? But still look very, very well dressed.
and very importantly, research the company culture very well.
Yeah.
Write a short note about it. Make a note on your jotter about the company so that when you are talking to them, you talk to them as if you're already part of them.
Yeah.
That I know you guys do this, do that, and it aligns with my own values. I love this, and you people already do it. You'll be taking ownership even during the interview, and
Interview.
make sure your facial expression is
Yeah.
superb.
Super.
Smile from beginning to the end of the interview. Smile.
Smile.
That's the key. In short, here in England, I don't know for other places. Here in England, they teach people those that can't smile naturally. They teach them what they call plastic smile. You pretend to smile, just do it like this, even if it's not for just that facial expression is really important. I've been to interviews where my smile made all the interviewers to start smiling. They were like, we can't just resist you from the way you even smile at questions. Even if you are not sure, the way you smile alone, shows us that you're a very confident and friendly person. That approachable person, because no employer would like to hire a troublesome employee. Your smile shows how approachable, how confident, and how positive you are.
I would say even it doesn't have to be a plastic smile. I would say make it genuine as well, as much as you can. If you don't know how to smile, make the smile genuine. Because I found out that when your smile is genuine, all of a sudden you will just remember some questions, some answers to some questions because you are in a happy mood. Has anybody been in a happy mood? When you're in a happy mood, you start remembering things and you find out that you talk more in a happy mood than when you're sad. So you become a bit hyper. So as much as you can, make those smiles all genuine.
Yeah.
Also, for ladies, it's good to take a handbag to your interview, and in that handbag you should have all your documents there. If you need to go with your laptop, some documents, don't just be carrying them on the hand like someone that is not organized. Does that make sense? Even as a guy, instead of carrying all your documents on the hand, you can just take a file or a small bag and put them. It shows that you are an organized person. Unlike when you go for an interview, your book is falling this way, your handbag, your phone is falling the other way, your pen is falling the other way, and you are trying to pick them along as you're moving. What impression does it tell the interviewer? That you are a scattered person. So as much as you also can, go with a file, a folder or a file where all your documents are all packaged. If you're asked to do a presentation through a laptop, also go with your laptop in a good bag. Continue, Dr.
Yeah.
Uchenna.
So yeah, you just say what I wanted to say. Let your smile be natural. I just mentioned plastic smile because there are some people who can't smile naturally, you know. So that's why here in the customer service, they teach them the one they call plastic for those people who don't have the gift of smiling. But all I wanted to say is that make sure your smile is natural
Sure.
and start smiling even when you are walking in. Let your face show that appreciation and greet the interviewers. Don't just go and sit down.
Yeah.
Just greet them. Good morning. How are you? Pleased to meet you. Show that, freedom, of association. Yeah. And like I said, but don't let your smile to be too wide. Don't let it to
Wide.
be too
Yeah.
wide.
Don't
Okay.
be carried away.
Don't
Yeah.
be carried away. Don't just because when you are smiling with your friends during a joke, you can exceed certain levels because they're your friends. Let your smile be within a controllable limit, and make sure you keep it soft and let your facial expression be positive.
Yeah.
Don't show any fear or bias, okay, throughout the interview, especially when listening. When listening, always note occasionally to show that you understand what they are saying.
Yes.
Note, yeah, to show, because if they are just talking and you just stand like, do like this, they will look
They'll
at
be
you
like,
like,
are you sure you understand what we are saying?
but when you are nodding, even when you didn't get them, for instance,
You
in the
just
UK here, if you haven't lived here in the UK for a long time and you don't understand their intonation, it could be difficult sometimes, especially for people who haven't been here. Myself, I've been here for about 18 years. I've worked across the sector, taught in their secondary school, university, everywhere. So I understand them. But if people just come newly, there's always that difficulty, in getting them. Even in that situation, always note occasionally.
Yeah,
All
I also
right.
want to
If
add
you don't
there.
understand, you can now ask for clarification. Sorry, can you say
Yeah.
that again? So that
Yeah.
they can repeat things up to 5, 10 times,
10 times. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Don't
can.
be
They can.
scared.
Don't be
Don't be
scared
scared.
because, yeah, don't be scared because the person that is interviewing from London might not communicate what somebody, a fellow British that lives in Birmingham, can understand because they still have their tones. So even within the English people, they find it difficult to understand each other. So for you coming from Africa or anywhere, asking for clarification is just in order.
Yes, it is.
There have been incidents where people from Scotland can't understand somebody from Liverpool, the same English people. So don't think that asking for clarification is too much. It's just normal. It's just normal. At times, it will even make the speaker to understand that he or she is not communicating well. So you push it to them by asking them to repeat, So that is just normal. Now, salutation and body language, very important, okay? Offer a firm but not overpowering handshake. Always extend your hand to give them a handshake to show that, you feel at home, and always start politely. Make eye contact. Don't be looking down. Make eye contact, positive eye contact. Hi, good morning. Hello, my name is this, right? thank you for having me today. It just show that enthusiasm where the person would like, I would like to talk with this person more, even from the greeting. There's something he or she carries, So that exciting atmosphere is always great. And throughout the interview, make sure you sit upright. Avoid bending by the side or slouching. Just sit firm, Place your hands calmly in your laps on the table. Don't fold your hand or show any fear or anything. Just calmly. You can just have your hand on your laps on the table. That's totally okay. Avoid crossing your arms because it shows defensive interview. You are just waiting for something, then you forget and think. Just stay calm, okay? And lean forward to avoid, to show attentiveness. For instance, if someone is talking and it shows that, even when somebody is talking to you and you lean forward, it shows that, this thing you are saying there is very sweet. Even if you don't like what they are saying, lean forward and nod, the way you are talking with somebody and you like the thing, you like to put your ear there. So the interviewer is also looking at you, whether you are really enjoying what they are talking about. Use hand gestures, sparingly to support your point. When you are talking, you can use hand. Don't just fold your hand like this when you are talking. Use hand gestures. Say, for instance, this, but don't just be all over the place like a choir master. Take it easy. Try to communicate, because as you are talking, they are looking at you and they are enjoying even how you are demonstrating, what you are talking about. It's very important. And make sure you don't go there with chewing gum. And make sure you don't use a perfume that will scare everybody away. Make sure your perfume is not irritating people. Okay, that's it. Don't interrupt the interviewer, even if you like to talk too much. Always wait for them to finish what they are saying before you talk. Don't take the word from their mouth. Even if you believe that you are more intelligent than the interviewer, don't ever show that. Don't fidget. Don't interrupt them. Avoid using your phone or checking the time during the interview. Don't ever check the time. Don't ever use your phone. Don't ever show up. So don't ever interrupt the interviewer. So for that, that's what I'll say before we now go to the next quiz.
Can I ask you? So if you go for an interview and we've started, guys, and you are asked, tell me about yourself. So how do you answer that interview question? So let me throw it first to the wider audience. Like I say, it's an interactive section. If somebody here answers the question, then Dr. Uchenna can come in, or I can come in to say you can add this or you can add that. Does anybody want to answer that question? Tell me about yourself. I'll point to. Remember, we came to learn. Should I point everybody at around? Okay, doctor wants to. Okay, Amy.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, this Chukwemeka, this Amy.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself. I feel it's all about. First of all, thank you for the question. My name is Susan. So tell them about you.
Tell me about yourself. You are in an interview panel now. You answer the question.
Yes, that's what okay. I should answer as a question.
Yes, to you
all
for
right.
yourself.
Okay. I'll say my name is. Thank you for the question. My name is Onyaso Chukwemeka. I'm a graduate of social and so I'll be able to work in social and so places, in social capacities. During my working experience, I'll be able to do this and that. And these are things that motivated me for career growth or for switching to their appointments or whatever. Sorry, for the job I'm applying right now. Just give them a brief background of your academic background and your previous job experience and what actually motivates you, hence why you're applying for the job. Thank you.
Give me an example. So what you've done, you just described how to answer the question. Does that make sense? So now put it in a practical term. You mean that you are in an interview right now and I ask you that question. Can you put yourself in that question and answer it? Okay, let me go to Sulaimon. Sulaimon, can you answer that question now? You're on mute, Sulaimon. After Sulaimon, Precious. So answer the question.
Okay, to answer the question,
Tell me
thank
about
you.
yourself.
Okay, thank you for interviewing me. So I'm passionate about working in an environment where I believe I can showcase my skills. So I had experience in this role for like maybe 2 or 3 years or 5 years, any years you want to mention. Then with my experience, I believe I can give the organization the goals they require, and I will be able to work with the organization uh, to make the organization grow more. And I believe with this job, I am uh, prone to. I always adapt to any changes that can upgrade me and the company, so that the company can even can grow further. And I believe with training and certifications, so of which the organization needs, I will be able to provide it. I would like to work with the organization. I think.
Thank you, Sulaimon. Dr. Ushena, what do you think about Sulaimon's response to that question?
Yeah, he made an attempt, but a lot of things were missing. If it's my organization, I mean, they may not hire you. That's just the truth. Because you tried, but you didn't highlight certain things that we normally like to hear whenever people come for interviews, because some of us sit in the panel listening to people. So we'll listen to a lot of people tell their stories, and there are certain things we look out for when we ask you about yourself. Now, when the interviewer asks you about yourself, which is often the very first question, what they are asking you is to market yourself. Imagine Shell or Ajib hiring to do an advert for them, for the whole world to, come and buy their product. How will you do it? You do it with enthusiasm. You do it with confidence. You do it with knowledge that you know everything about they do and how you can show that they have an edge over their competitors. So you are trying to market yourself above every other person coming for that interview. And remember, first impression matters. First impression matters. So tell me about yourself is just like a short pitch, marketing everything you know. So it has to be something you can use to build a rapport and to set the tone for the rest of the conversation. And when that question comes up, where I work, we don't always announce it, but it's a critical part of the UK government. So let me not even go there. But when this question comes, what they want to hear is about your job title and profession, right? They want to hear about your years of experience, the industry or sector where you have that experience, and your key strengths and key skills you are bringing forth to that job they have advertised. What are you bringing in? It's just like somebody asking you, why you? Why must we hire you? Okay. So you have to present a summary of your past role. Okay. Just a quick overview of your career path, emphasizing on your progression, your achievement. We want to hear that. And the growth you have achieved. The key responsibilities or project you have handled. We want to hear that when that question comes. And career transition, if any, if you have moved from one job to the other, at what point did you move? Was it to now do something higher and more challenging to make impact? Those stories, that will help you to market yourself. Then also emphasize on your relevant skills. When an employer advertises for a job, there are things they want. Emphasize on your skills in such a way that you align it with what they are looking for. You say, I have these skills from this job, and which correctly matches what you guys are looking for, which makes me believe that I'm the best fit. Marketing, you are making yourself irresistible to them. I've got this and this, and you need this, so I am the one. Do you get what I mean? I've got this and this, and people are looking for this. All those things. Talk about your core skills, your technical competencies, all right? Your leadership and people management skills. How have you managed teams under you? Okay, are there notable achievements where you worked? Did they recognize you that you always finish your project before time and you bring innovation? What are those things you did that made you stood out? Okay, and you tell them what you're particularly strong in. Very, very important. And share your key career achievements and projects that you have been able to do. Okay, and end that you're talking about with why you are here. Okay, what are you looking for? Why are you coming for this job? How does what you know and what you have achieved align with what this job requires? And why must we hire you?
We have more hands here.
Yeah, go on.
Let's take more of the responses.
Okay, I wanted to just tell you a little, maybe a little practical way of presenting this. Should I go ahead?
Okay.
For instance, if I go for an interview now and somebody asks me, tell me about yourself, okay? I just start by saying thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad to tell you more about myself. I am an environmental manager and I operate at the charter level with over 10 years of experience, progressing and spanning through academia, industry, leadership. I hold a PhD in environmental and civil engineering. I've worked internationally as a lecturer, as an environmental engineer, and I've been a team leader across sectors, including the oil and gas, education, and public sector. Yeah, my career began in the academia where I lectured for over 7 years and even founded a scientific tutoring center that empowered thousands of young people in STEMs, promoting science, across board. Many of them are now successful doctors, engineers, and scientists across the globe. That early experience solidified my passion for education, impact, and mentoring. So I like to mentor, and within your organization, I will take up that opportunity to mentor young people on skills that we need to drive your establishment forward. In my own career, I later transitioned into the industry where I served as a manager in various fields and capacities, designing bioreactors and driving regulatory compliance for sustainable operations. In the UK, I've worked with the government, with the academia, with defense, providing strategic environmental advice, developing environmental management plans, and helping them to, align with the applicable legislations, One project I'm particularly proud of was leading the design of a sustainable framework, that reduced operational waste emissions by over 40%, which was laudable, and it saved my establishment over £150,000 annually. In doing that, I had to blend my technical knowledge with stakeholder engagement, and then use my performance monitoring skills to do something that reflected a balanced approach to engineering leadership and communication. In addition to my role, I share different, meetings within my organization. I led inclusive decision making in an engagement, improved welfare in my place of work. Today, I'm looking to join a forward-thinking organization like your own, where I can contribute my experience in my environmental leadership to ensure that your organization continues to grow rapidly in what they do and to make a lasting impact in your area of operation. Whether that is through technical excellence or mentoring or sustainable initiative, I am particularly here because I'm excited to bring about a rapid movement and progress in this goal, because it aligns with my expertise, it aligns with my value, it aligns with my long vision. So I will lead you forward and bring a sustainable growth if you hire me. That is why I'm here. Thank you. So that's just, in a nutshell, an unprepared response, just to show you how you try to highlight certain key things you have done. If I had prepared for this, I'm just cooking this as we are talking to show you how you just bring out some of the things you have done to show them that, yes, I am here because I know this. And make sure, that's why I say study the organization, know what they are looking for, know the person's qualification, then tailor everything you know to tell them that you have done this and it relates to what they are looking for.
So, Dr. Uche, are you answering why are you here, or tell me about yourself?
Tell me about yourself. In telling about yourself, you talk about all this and then tell them at the end of the day, that's about yourself. That's why you brought yourself here, because of all these qualities you have.
Okay. Thank you. So, Elochukwu put in here, what is the difference between tell me about yourself and why we should hire you?
Yes. Why we should hire you is really important. When you get a job advert and read it very, very well and see all the things that they are doing and then align them with your experience, see where they match, okay? Now, there could be other things that they didn't even mention. For instance, they are looking for somebody that studied what you studied in the university and you have added this data analytics as part of your experience. You can now tell them that in addition to this thing they have advertised, that you're even an experienced data analyst and that you use this knowledge to apply in XYZ that they advertise to make sure that it stands out, okay? Even beyond what they had expected, that you know how to, manipulate data, give it insight, interpret it, and present it to stakeholders and all that. You tell them that this is even a higher scope, but that is what you are bringing to their organization.
Can I just add? When you hear this question, why should we hire you? I would say read the job description very well and also read about the organization, okay? If they say that they need collaborative skills, communication skills, they need someone that can handle complex data, a team player. So this is exactly why they should hire you, because you have this thing they just mentioned in the job role. Does that make sense? So you give them exactly what they want. So if they say, we need someone that is a good communicator, we need someone that can collaborate with different stakeholders, we need a good team player, we need someone that is easily adaptable. So when you go for an interview and they say, why should we hire you? You tell them, I'm adaptable, I have good communication skill, I have stakeholder management skills, I have collaboratives. Does that make sense? Once you mention these 4 things that they mentioned in the job role, that's exactly why they should hire you, because you have the qualities they need in the job. Does that make sense? So you say, I have this and I have that. You can also add, I have researched your organization. You are doing an excellent work. So you have to research their organization as well. If they are very good with inclusion and diversity, you tell them that you love an environment that is very passionate about inclusion and diversity. And that is also why you want to work for them. Because you can't be in an environment that does not include you. So you have to fit in that organization. That's exactly why you want to work here. On the question, why should we hire you? Can you give an example of past experience? Exactly. So every question you're going to answer in interview, we encourage you to use the STAR method. STAR R method, actually. The situation, the task, the action, the result, and then reflection. So the reflection makes you stand out. I know everybody knows about the STAR method, but if you don't know, that's what we call STAR method. STAR method means situation. So if you're asked to tell them why they should hire you, you tell them, thank you for that question. You should hire me because I have experience in stakeholder management. For example, in my last role, I did this. There was a situation. What was the situation where that led to the stakeholder management? What was the task that was given to you? So it could be that you were asked to present a dashboard to a stakeholder or audience outside the organization. What was the action that you took? You went and prepared for the presentation and make sure you simplified it to suit your audience needs. What was the result? During the presentation, your stakeholders felt engaged. the information you provided was able to solve their problem, and what's the action, the result. Okay, the action you prepared, the result, the stakeholders enjoyed your presentation. The reflection is you found out that because of how you tailor the presentation to the audience, it helped them to understand the insight in a more better way. And going forward, you ensure that you involve your stakeholders into your presentation. So that's a reflection in that particular scenario that you gave. So it's always good to use that method to answer your question. Add reflection. Reflection is what you learned, a takeout from that your example that you just gave. I don't know if that answered your question, Eleshobu.
There are some hands up.
Okay, yes. Precious, you are number one here. Then Marvelous is number two.
Right. Thank you. So I raised my hand when you were asking about the tell me about yourself. Is that what
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, you
Oh,
can still answer the question. So everybody is here too. It's actually for everyone's self. If you answer questions and tell it to yourself, you're getting more confidence in answering questions during interview. Yeah, go for it, Precious.
all right. Thank you. So before I start, first I know I meant to turn on my camera, but at the moment I'm sorry, but yes. So Um, thank you for the opportunity to interview for this position and discuss my skills and experience. I'm Precious with a background in with the 5 years experience within customer service, information governance, and legal compliance, and with the hands-on experience across diverse sectors, so across the educational sector, the consulting sector, and the legal office environment. Having gone through the job description, my role and background is one that closely aligns with this role, as my role is one that's allowed me the opportunity to interface with customers, with colleagues, and ensure I deliver excellent customer service while complying with data protection regulation, not limited to the Data Protection Act 2018, the UK GDPR, and the Freedom of Information Act. In my current role as customer service advisor, I navigate service users in complex, sensitive matters and also handle freedom of information requests and DSARS, ensuring that personal data is retrieved, reviewed, and redacted appropriately before disclosure, in line with the DPA Act of 2018. In my role, also, I act as the first point of contact for all inquiries. I handle the DCRS inbox, ensuring that all information is sorted out accordingly. A key part of my role is one that's required me to support the public. So this ranges from the safeguarding team, the records team, and the police, in just ensuring that complex inquiries are settled, and ensuring strict adherence to compliance protocols. Also, I've also been involved with managing the SAR log register, where I acknowledge requests to verifying identity down to retrieving data redaction where necessary, and also responding within the legal time frame of 1 month. In the course of my role as well, I've had the opportunity um, to interface with colleagues around. I'm one who likes to collaborate effectively. So I'm a people person where I like to work effectively with colleagues while I also try working alone as well. Prior to this, actually, I've worked as an information governance assistant, and my role there has been in processing SAR and also applying appropriate reductions where necessary. And also, I've also been involved with liaising with teams to um, also support the compliance team, training initiatives, and liaising with the records team to ensure that data protection protocols are followed to the letter. I've also worked in a legal as a legal compliance officer in a busy legal environment where I was solely responsible for handling tasks like conducting due diligence, privacy agreements, um, drafting reports and letters, and just ensuring that the clients were compliant, regulated. In each of these my roles, I've developed a theoretical and practical understanding of the regulations surrounding compliance, which ranges from the Data Protection Act 2018 to the UK GDPR and down to the Freedom of Information Act 2000. And this has filled my knowledge more for more information governance related roles. My role also is one where I am in the course of my roles also, I've also honed my ability to use redaction software like the Adobe Acrobat Pro and the Fuzit software, where I redact third-party information accurately just before disclosure. I've also used packages like the MX Excel, the MX Word to draft high quality documents and just ensure that documents are clear and accessible to data subjects. On a personal level, I'm one who is willing to roll up her sleeve and get the job done, support the departmental needs, and also I consider myself to be one who is proactive. So this means that I like to assess risk. I like to flag issues early just before they escalate. I'm one who is detail oriented. I'm an analytical person, and this has shown in the course of my roles as well. So whether it is reading, going through 100 DSARs or going through pages of complex information, I am always hands-on actually. Um and also I am one who's committed to my personal development as I've taken courses to further boost my knowledge and training. And in summary, I'll be coming on board with a strong hands in customer experience just to ensure that the customers are well satisfied. And I prioritize excellent customer service across board. And also I'll be coming on board with a strong knowledge of the regulations. So with a strong knowledge of Data Protection Act, the Freedom of Information Act, and the UK GDPR, and also with my ability to balance empathy, I'm sure that I'll be able to navigate sensitive situations as a common board. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious. That was good. So, Dr. Uchenna, what do you have to say about her response?
Yeah, the response was well detailed. I mean, it's a kind of response after presenting it. You would have covered everything the interviewer would have asked you. Let me give you an example. In one interview that I attended, I think the interview for my current job, the interviewer just asked me, tell me about yourself. The interview was supposed to last for about an hour. After telling them about myself, they told me that the interview has finished. He asked the other, there were about 3 of them. Do you have anything to ask? No, he has covered it. Do you have anything to ask? They have covered it. Within 2 or 3 days, they hired me as a manager in the government.
Precious, Precious. Someone said in the chat, Precious, you are hired. Excellent, Precious.
So
you are hired.
That's my current job. They were like, because when you are answering, they will be ticking the boxes. The interviewer has normally come with a lot of questions, different heading, different. When you in what role have you demonstrated this? But because telling them about yourself, you were very all-encompassing, were well detailed, they'll be ticking all the things from the number 1 to the last. At the end, the other one will say, you've even covered the next place we wanted to ask you.
Yeah. We have covered, you have covered almost everything.
That's what happened to me in my interview. I didn't know. So they mistakenly asked me, tell us about yourself. So by the time I finished, they told me interview has finished.
Yeah.
So they now asked me, do I have any question for their I now started questioning them. And interestingly, many of the questions I asked, they had no answer to it. They told me they will find out and reply this thing. You also ask them when you will hear from them, what's the salary, what's the opportunity for the career development, do they have trainings, what are professional, associations like accreditations and all that, do they pay for the annual fees and all that. At a point, if you tell us about yourself very well, you will even be the one interviewing the interviewers.
Yes, that's true.
And some of them will be struggling because they won't be ready or they may not have prepared. They will think that you are like any other person that they will interview. The person will be afraid. But when you tell us about yourself, that hires you.
Just to add to what Dr. Uchenna is saying, you see what Precious has done now. She prepared for it. So you can actually script, tell me about yourself. You script it and learn it and have it in your fingertips, like the way you can sing your children's or your husband's or your name or your date of birth in your head. Does that make sense? So this is the most important part of the interview. If you sell yourself, you are almost 90% higher. That's the truth.
Somebody's asking, can you read out tell me about yourself in an interview? The answer is that tell me about yourself should be in your head.
In your head.
Because when you are going for an interview, some of the or majority of the interview will be face to face.
Face to
You'll be
face.
looking at the person. So if they wanted a newscaster, they would have hired broadcasters now from BBC or AIT or Arise News. So tell me about yourself. You have to plan yourself and know yourself.
Yeah.
You have to know yourself.
Learn it in the house.
You can put bullet points, just to remind you about what to talk about, but not writing a full sermon, to read there. They want somebody who is confident about what he or she has done. So you should know yourself and not a paper knowing about you. So you have to plan it, put few bullet points aloud, so you can just be looking at the bullet points if you are forgetting anything to enable you to talk about any aspect you want to talk about. Bullet point is just a guide. You now elaborate on what you have.
Precious, you can raise your hand. So, and another thing is this: as much as you want to talk about yourself, make sure that every interview is different. I always say to job seekers, if you have 10 interviews, you're going to prepare for 10 different ways, because the job description for this particular role is not the same for the other role. So in as much as you're talking about yourself, make sure you are incorporating the qualities they need for that particular role. For example, the way Precious talked about herself here is outstanding, but it might not suit another job role that she's going an interview for. Does that make sense? So if you're going for another interview, this tell me about yourself might not suit another job, even though you have these experiences. So what I would say is the same thing you've said, the same structure you've used, but try as much as you can to pull in some of the qualities they need. For example, if they say they need someone that is very good with Excel, you can add the Excel. I use the Excel to analyze data, complex data. I pull data from multiple sources. So they need all these qualities. Try as much as you can to put it in there. So I will go to Precious. You had a backup question.
Yes,
is it
please,
same from this question?
Yes, it's on the same line.
Okay.
Please, I was going to ask, how many minutes would you say a tell me about yourself response should last for? So how many minutes would you recommend so that it doesn't look like you're talking too much and then you're
exactly. Like when you answered that question, I almost became bored as well, but it's okay. All I would say is look at your interviewer's facial expression. There was a time I went for an interview, I was talking, and I found out that the people around me became exhausted. They were no longer engaging. When you're talking and they are nodding their head, it means they are giving you a response. But all of a sudden, the interviewer starts to, become very quiet, and you're looking at their faces. They're already looking tired, and you're still talking, and you're still talking. That is not good. Does that make sense? So make sure you are looking at their interaction with you. Look at their facial expression. Even though you are in an online interview, you can also tell when someone is no longer engaging. So you should be able to not over exceed your time. For example, you answered very well, but you could have just reduced in a particular organization you worked for. Instead of talking 5 bullet points, you can actually do 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me come in there. When she was talking, one thing I also wanted to give as a feedback was her pace.
Yeah.
She was too fast.
Yeah, very fast. It felt like you were reading it from a particular book.
Too fast. And being too fast makes it very boring. Okay? You were more like reading out a news that was prepared on a script.
But your answers were good.
Your answers were good, but it was more like reading a news and at a very fast pace, where your listener is even struggling to get every point that you are talking about. So I would advise that response should be half the size of what you presented and only highlight the key points.
Key points.
The key points. When the main interview now comes and they want more emphasis, they will always ask you that you talked about this when you were talking about yourself. Can you now explain in details how you applied it to X situation or Y situation? So reduce your pace when you are talking in a more gentle way and a very persuasive way.
Yeah,
persuasive.
Very persuasive. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Make what you are saying so too attractive that the people we want to hear more. Do you get what I mean? But calm down. Just come as if you are interacting, talking with somebody. I did this and did this and did this. And you said this, so it aligns with what? Just trying to pinpoint the alignment.
I could say maybe because your camera was not on, because see the way Dr. Oshena is talking, because I can see how his hands are moving, his head is moving, I'm engaged. It's interesting. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
But I can't see how your hand was moving. I can't see how your facial expression was. So when you were answering the question, it could be that we would have been more engaged, even though you talked for 10 minutes. So tell me about yourself doesn't have a length of time. It's just how are you able to, are the people enjoying it? Does that make sense?
Just
are
2
they
to 3
enjoying
minutes.
What you're saying? You can talk for 20 minutes and somebody wants you to actually talk more because of the way you are communicating. They can see your hands, they can see your head, they can see how enthusiastic that you are. You're passionate about what you're saying, and they even want you to actually tell them more. But somebody can talk for 2 minutes and you're already tired. So no question has a length of time, to be honest. But in overall, each of you should last 1 hour at highest 1 hour 30 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Marvelous.
Someone is asking, in a situation where you are unexperienced, do you really need to showcase experience? The answer is in your career life, you've had experiences. For instance, if you have gone through a secondary school and a university and all that, all those modules you studied, form part of your experiences.
And expertise,
Expertise, yes. You can really package them in a way that even the assignments you did in school were part of what you already know. They gave you coursework, You went, did that, came out with a result, they marked it, say you passed. It's an experience.
Yeah.
Some people even did IT, industrial placement. It's an experience.
You even
what
walk
you just
in a
walk
church,
around is how to now relate it with the role and tell them, although you had this experience in this area, but this is how I will apply it in what you are looking for. So don't ever demarcate yourself that you don't have any experience. Once you have gone through an institution of learning, you definitely have an experience. All you need is just packaging. Irrespective of whatever you read, though, it doesn't matter whether you read engineering and they are looking for somebody in business administration, it's packaging.
So what I would say is you have a wealth of experience. So package your CV, send it to me, and then we'll have a one-to-one, and I will look at that CV. You will find out that you have more than 3 or 4 experiences that will go in there at the end. All you need to do is once it's packaged, you begin to now put some scenarios in your head on how you can structure it during an interview. Everybody in this world has a wealth of experience. Anything you have ever done, whether a training, whether even in your family, you can actually apply those examples during an interview. So don't worry, you have a wealth of experience. And yes, you need experience for an interview because you have to create a scenario. The STAR method we talked about. You need to create an example of where you have done something that made you to come for that interview. So even though you don't have an experience, you can tell them that you are a learner and you can always learn during the role. But you have to have something, even though it's one, to attach the interview,
Yeah, this is because
This is because if someone else has a better experience than you, even though you would have been hired, they would decide to take the other person because the industry is very competitive. Continue, Dr. Ushe.
Yeah, can I just add that when you are going for a job interview, please always don't have this mentality that I don't have an experience in this area. You see, some of the master's degree people do, even here in England, are just a 1-year program, and some of the modules are covered in 1 week. It simply means that if a job is advertised and they mention certain areas that you don't know at all, just get a textbook and read about it. Get a textbook, even if it's what you studied in school, but they didn't cover that aspect, and they say they need someone that has that experience. Get a book, subject yourself to studying that, get a little experience, so that during the interview, you tell them that I already know X, Y, Z. I also know how to apply this. You've not worked anywhere, but you've read it. You've applied this, and that when they now hire you, that you believe with the training they provide, it will build your expertise on the thing.
Exactly.
You know, there are some interviews, even with a PhD, you know, and many years of working across board. There's one interview I went somewhere and they asked me a question about a software that I have not used before. I told them that I've applied XYZ in this place, that place. So that your software is even less than what I have used.
I will learn it.
That I now push it to them. Do you people have a training for a new staff? Did they say yes? I say, hey, that's me now. That if you have a training, I've been able to do this. I even learned the other one by myself and learn. So with your training, it means that I'll be honest, all of them are laughing. And at the end, you are hired. It was the answer. You're hired.
Marvelous.
So
Another
always show that you are teachable, you know, and also spend time to don't just copy whatever they advertise and put without making effort to go and read about them. That's what I will tell you.
So is it Marvelous or Reverend? Whose hand is up?
Yeah, it's me. So many of the things.
Your voice, we can't hear you, sir.
Are you hearing me now?
It's breaking, but try again. We can't hear you.
Okay, I will switch to.
Okay, so while he's getting his voice ready, we need to take the next question from an interview. Is that okay? Does anybody have any question before we move to the next question? We are just in question one. Okay, Dr. Osha, do you want to take what is your greatest weakness?
Yeah, when you are asked the question, I think we have to start with the people around here, you know, to know what they think about that. Then
yeah, that's the same method we used the last time.
Because already I've passed a lot of all this, you know, in several times with success. So when we now hear what they have to say, we now use our own experience,
yeah,
you know, to tell them what we did and still got hired.
So what is your greatest weakness? Okay, Precious is clapping. Who wants to go first? Somebody's clapping now. What? Yeah, go on, Precious. What is your greatest weakness? How do you answer that question?
I'm just going to turn on my camera now just so that you can see me, but I'm not well prepared for the interview.
That's fine. You don't have to be well prepared. You just have to
turn on my camera
try.
at first because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't looking it. Yeah. So with what is my greatest weakness? So thank you for the question actually. And this is a very dicey question because my greatest weakness is the fact that I tend to spend a bit of time with going through. I tend to spend a bit of time with going through documents. So why that has actually moved from why that was actually like one of my greatest strengths, which is the fact that I am attentive to details and I like to pay correct attention to something. However, it's a sort of a weakness because I tend to spend a lot of time going through a document or reviewing a task, and as such, it's slows me down and I'm not able to complete the task. However, I have been able to work through this over time in the course of my roles. And as such, I now allocate like specific times to a particular task I need to do or to a particular document. And then with the second I going through the document as well, I'm confident that I am delivering a good job. And that's how I've been able to overcome my weakness. Thank you.
That was 100. You're hired.
Good. That was good. Very good. You see, the eye contact made it very interactive. You were relating, and everybody saw that you were genuine.
And I was nodding my head.
Unlike when you are invisible, it makes it difficult. So the key thing is that when you ask the question, what's your greatest weakness? Be honest. Okay. In your honesty, be strategic. Very, very strategic. Turn that your weakness into strength, For instance, when I'm asked such a question, what is your greatest weakness in an interview? All I will do is to identify a situation, which exposed my weakness. For instance, in my early career, while working as a project team lead, in an environmental assessment, because like I told you, I have a PhD in civil and environmental engineering. So while working as a lead, I found myself reviewing every document, nearly everything by myself, regardless of how minor everything was. I didn't delegate to anybody because I felt that people might make mistakes and I wanted highest quality, so that everything will be able to comply with the standard. So I was doing everything all by myself instead of delegation. And I struggled to delegate tasks because of that trust. So when I realized that by professionalism, I was becoming too perfect in everything, but at the same time, it was slowing down the operations, of the work pace. And we had a deadline. When that happened, I decided to address this issue. Yes, I want this perfect, but I had to address it, by taking my leadership development training, which focused on building trust. So by doing that training, I understood what it meant to build trust and delegate to others. When I now implemented it, in my other job roles, I realized that I could as well delegate and achieve the best of the results. Why not overworking myself? And right now, that thing that was a weakness has helped me to improve productivity, effective leadership. And it's not just about doing everything by myself. I now know that I can actually enable others and help them to learn how to improve and to do things perfectly like myself. So you see, it was a weakness that I was not delegating. And I saw it was putting us down, but I turned it to strength. I even how to strengthen others. Did you see how I answered that question?
Yeah.
And many people are like me, you want everything perfect, perfect. You don't trust anybody. But in my previous job, I saw it was affecting the speed of delivery, and I had to do something. What did I do? I enrolled for a course on leadership and delegation. And right now, it has even helped me to empower others. So your weakness, be strategic, turn it upside down to strength. The employers love it.
That's good. Then any other person that there's a question here. Let me know when you're ready. Marvelous, just raise your hand again. What extent can you introduce yourself when you don't have much experience that aligns? What extent? So, Chukwuemeka wrote this. Let me take that question, then Dr. Uchenna can contribute. When you're asked to tell about yourself, there's so much to talk about yourself. So you can be resilient, adaptive, result-driven, attention to details. So you have to add all those things to tell me about yourself. Your academic qualifications as part of about yourself. Then you now talk about your job roles. Like I said, it doesn't have a timing. And you now talk about all the qualities they need for that role. So if you are, for example, applying for a role of a data analyst, and in that role, they want someone that can develop a dashboard using Power BI. You talk about that in about yourself. You tell them that you are proficient in using tools like Power BI, SQL, Python programming language. You can use Microsoft offices like Excel, advanced Excel skills, PowerPoint, and Microsoft Word. You can talk about all those things. And talking about this is not a 1 minute something. Remember, when you're talking about those skills, you have to elaborate on it more. Okay, you now say I've used it while I was working with COSENG Limited. I used Power BI to create an interactive dashboard that showed how we can improve our internal processes. Okay, and I presented it to different stakeholders in the organization. So when you're saying this, they have already marked you that one, you can use Power BI. Two, you are a collaborative person, you have a collaborative skills. Three, you can engage with different stakeholders just in one introduction. So you feel when you are introducing yourself, you're actually getting something, some skills that aligns with the role. So it's not a short or long, it's not about how long or how short it was. You can talk about it in a short while, but you've actually mentioned all the skills that they actually need. Does that make sense? Dr. Oshena, you can add if you have anything.
Yes, I totally agree with you. You know, when that question comes, to what extent can you introduce yourself? You know, like you said, if you apply for an IT work and you don't have IT skills, just go to the job specification. All those things they mentioned, you know, that they want from the candidate, you know, try to align them with what you know. And the key thing that will market you is your confidence.
Yeah.
You know, be confident in talking about them. For instance, focus on your transferable skills. Okay, even if you don't have a formal IT background at all, you can be hired.
Yeah.
Okay, for instance, if you have problem solving skills, there are some people they don't have IT, but they know how to organize others and make others that have the skill to actually put it to work. So they can hire you because of that problem solving skills. Communication skills also important. If you're a good communicator, like Precious, you know, that communicated very well, you can tell them that you're a very good communicator. Mm-hmm. Even if another person analyze, you can be the one that will communicate that information. You know, because you can talk. So you can also talk about attention to details and data analysis skills that you have. You know, talk about that. Talk about teamwork, that in several teams you have seen yourself leading because you can actually key into their vision and even drive it to achieve positive results. You know, you talk about project coordination, all those things that you know that will help to deliver that job role. You talk about them. Then that is why learning and certification is important. Even if you don't have the skill, tell them about your learning and certifications. What have you done to improve yourself? Very, very important. For instance, if you have done this our COSENG training, you put it that analytics like the one you are doing now. If you have done the Microsoft AWS, anything you have done to improve yourself, it shows that you are teachable. It shows that you aspire to have your career taken to the next level. So all those things you have to really highlight them, because there are some people when you hire them, they are not ready to learn. There's nothing you can do. Any effort to get them into courses, you know, to develop their personal career development will be as if they are struggling because they are not just used to that. But when you tell them the trainings you have done and the ones you are yet to do, it will enable them to know that you're a teachable person. Okay. You also tell them relevant projects and personal initiative. It could be your personal business you started where you used your initiative to know what to do. You know, that is why you should also think about what you are doing with yourself. Do you know how to volunteer? Are there places you have volunteered? And are there things you did there that could help to deliver a project in that area? Tell them you will bring it in, okay, in this their role. Do you know how to build a website? Sometimes COSENG organizes free website training class. You can just come and learn how to build and then tell them, yes, you can build a website, that you can even improve their website tracking and everything. You know how to use Excel, like she said, Power BI, you know, helping them in digital tools, okay? It will show them your interest in IT. Even if what they advertise is not exactly what you want, to show you their interest. Yes, it's good to talk about your experience from a different field. Those things you already do, like leadership, problem solving, adaptability, very important. So then you can adapt no matter the situation. Okay, if you were a teacher or a lecturer, mention it. Okay, mention that you can design a curriculum, because every establishment like to train or have a training department or research and development. Then you can design a curriculum that could be used to train people. Okay, that's it. Even if you have worked as a healthcare person in the UK, talk about it. Confidentiality. There's hardly anybody that came here to study in the UK that didn't work in the health sector, including myself. Talk about confidentiality. Companies like people that keep their information confidential. Talk about system usage, okay, and fast learning. That you're a fast learner. Market yourself. That is it. I mean, there are a lot of things to think about: documentation, technical writing skills. You know how to write technical stuff.
Transferable skills.
Exactly. So that is it. There are so many things to talk about. I want you to understand that there's no one person know it all anywhere. Yeah. So, even the person rated A doesn't know it all.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of people in my workplace, and they were like, I moved from this department to another department. They didn't have an experience. So they just saw an advert, they just went for the interview, and they got the job. And you'll be asking them, how did you move from this particular place to this place? They said they read it and they got the job, and that they use what we call transferable skills. So even though that you don't have all the qualification for a particular job, but you are in a role, you can actually move to another role, transferring those soft skills, like Dr. Uchenna was mentioning. Communication skills are transferable, adaptability is transferable. So all those transferable skills, communication skills, stakeholder management, every role in this world should have those qualities. So those are the qualities you can transfer to another role. So for example, I'm a data analyst, right? But if I go into an organization and I don't have those skills, I might not do well in the role. Does that make sense? But if I bring those skills in, it makes a difference. So you can transfer those skills into a role, and then if you don't have the actual qualities for that role, the organization can train you to fulfill this thing for the role. Does that make sense?
Somebody asked an interesting question. I like the question. It says, what should you do if you are asked an unknown question during your interview? I like that one. If you're asked an unknown question, okay, the answer is stay calm and confident. Yeah. Don't panic. Yes. Or don't say, I don't know right away. Don't ever say, I don't know right away. Don't panic. Just take a breath. Take a breath and smile if you can. Like myself, I always smile. Okay, maintain your composure. Don't look your composure. Just be professional. Just stand like that. So what I normally do is, if a question I don't know comes, I just acknowledge the challenge straight away. I say, that's a great question. I will be honest. It is not something I have a direct experience with yet. Okay, but I will just look while looking at the examiner, I mean the interviewer, making eye contact. I say, while I haven't worked directly with that thing you're talking about, I'm confident in my ability to learn quickly. I will start by reviewing the documentation, and I'll seek out tutorials, okay, and connect with team members who have done it before. And with that, I can just easily learn it. Yes, I've done that, but this one you're asking me, I haven't done it, but I'm confident I will learn it. That's the way you present it. They will just be looking at you and be clapping for you. Yes, I've not done it, but you see that thing? I will meet all those people. I've done it in the team.
You can even add, you can even make it sweeter and say, I am a quick learner. Okay. And you give them examples of what has happened in your previous role. For example, in my previous role, I didn't have an experience on how to use Power BI. I accepted the challenge during an interview. Once I was trained to use Power BI, I did so very well in that role. And this applies here because I'm always learning. I learn every day. If you train me on how to use this tool, I will definitely fulfill the requirement for the role when trained.
So they never say I don't know and stop there.
So you can
Don't
actually
guess
use
widely. Don't guess like somebody looking like a moron that this will scare me. Okay, don't make something up if you don't know. Don't make something up. Okay, don't show frustration. Don't show embarrassment. Don't show defensiveness whatsoever. Don't ramble. Don't fake anything. Just be genuine. Oh yes, this question looks interesting. I wonder, but you know, I can, I can do it. I can just research about it and get the answer. It shows them that you can even research what you don't know. The truth is that interviewers sometimes bring some difficult questions. Like I told you, my own interview got to a point I now turned to be the interviewer. The people that were interviewing me told me they will go and research and send me an answer by email. It just nobody knows it all, including them. And the question I asked them was on what they were interviewing me about. When I now asked them, they didn't know it. They had to check it, send me an email with an apology. Sorry, we couldn't provide the answer. This is the answer to your question, even after the interview. So that shows that nobody knows it all. But be confident.
Yeah, even when you don't know the answer,
even when you don't know,
you can learn.
You can learn, yeah, you can find out.
So any other person have anything to say? That otherwise we'll move to the next question. So how do you prioritize your work? That's another interview question that they normally ask. How do you prioritize your work when under pressure? So they could twist it around. How do you work under pressure? So, or how do you prioritize your work when you're working under pressure or when you have a tight deadline? Who wants to answer that question? Some people have not said anything. Hello, Chukwu. We have not answered any question here. Chukwu Emeka. Hadiza. Emmanuel. Is it Emeka? Amy, is it Chukwu Emeka as well? I think so. Who wants to go for it? How do you prioritize your work? You can also put it, how do you prioritize your work when faced with a tight deadline? Or you can also twist it like, this question can come in any way. How do you prioritize your work when under pressure? Okay. Any answer? These are some difficult questions that can come during an interview. Dr. Uche. Hello, Chukwu, okay. Do you want to try this question?
When you are asked how, it's a question I've met over and over again. So it's a common question. That's why I thought they would have just attempted. Then we'll now take you from there to share our experiences. Like I said, I've attended
hands up.
I've attended several interviews, and this kind of question keeps coming up over and over again. And they want to know, when you are under stress, what do you do? How will you choose what is most important? So, like me, okay, Precious hand is up. Go for it.
I thought I heard someone else's voice. Who wanted to say something? Precious, wait. Hello, Chukwu was saying something. Let Hello Chukwu try it, then Precious will add.
Good morning, all. I haven't got much of experience on the interview. That I've been one of the fortunate or unfortunate individual who has worked in one company since I graduated. But however, I do face challenges like this at work. But I'll go ahead to answer the question in this way. When I'm faced with challenges to prioritize the work, first of all, I take a 5 step backwards. I call it 5 step backwards. First of all, to ask myself questions: what's the deadline? What's the approach to follow? What's the safe means to achieve this? And then I ask myself all these questions, and then I take time to note them down, and then what approach would be the best approach, and then I go in to solve the problem. And I've tried this in several work tasks, and that I've gotten a good result. With this, I achieved the goal. I achieved the goal of getting the job done on time, within the required time. I've also gotten the job done without errors, because I've documented what I'm required to do, and in the process it checks out the job and confirm that everything is correct. And with this, I've saved most of the read time in our operations, right? Not incurring much non-productive time. I've also used this to achieve entirely the goal at the end of the day. So with these steps and arranging with these steps I put together, it gets the job done at time.
Thank you. Hadiza, your hand is up. Precious, your hand is up. So Precious, do you want to go for it? Thank you, Elo Chukwu. Well done. The doctor will judge it. Go on, Precious. You're on mute.
I look horrible.
No, you look
So yeah.
good.
So thank you for this question. And I've had a couple of times where I've had to work under pressure and meet deadlines. One of such instance being something. Calm down. So in my previous role, I as and sorry, let me just start again, please. I was just selfishly. Right. So thank you for this question. And I've had a couple of times when I've had to work under pressure and meet tight deadlines. And one of such instances being in my previous role where I had to work as an information governance assistant. So due to staff, a situation was when due to staff shortages, we had a situation where we had a backlog of SR processing activities, and of which we had some of those requests they were meeting like their deadlines, and of which the deadline was 1 month before it but we had 1 month before it was more than the we had 1 month to pass the deadline, and as such I had to come in then at the time to I had to work under pressure then and meet that 1 month deadline. So what I did at the time was to prioritize tasks based on urgency and of legal importance. So I understood the fact that if it was more than 1 month, we're going to face like compliance issues and we're going to have problems with like the authority. And as such, I had to prioritize based on urgency. I prioritized based on the risk that was involved as well. So I handled like the situations that the requests that were almost the deadline, and and in course of doing that, I collaborated with like my colleagues and then with the legal team particularly to go through the documents and just ensure that while we were under that pressure, we still had to apply the redactions properly and just ensure that the job was still gotten well done. And at the end of the day, realized that in about 2 weeks we were able to complete the backlogs and we cleared out the request and at the end of the day, my manager was very impressed and um, yes, we did not face any legal challenges or any risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious, for that answer. Hadiza, Dr. Usha will judge your response as well.
So I'm going to respond not as an interview, but what actually happened at my workplace when I was under pressure. So
It's
personally,
still
I
an
don't
interview.
work alone.
Okay, so
Ma?
answer it as an interview, okay?
Yeah,
It's okay.
no no. Okay, I should answer as an interview.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're on an
So if
interview,
I
so
have
use
to
that
answer as an
example,
interview,
convert it to
it's
interview. Yeah.
okay. So I'll be like, I don't work personally. I love to work with people of like minds. So in my where I work, I make sure at every point I work together. I work as a team. So while I was under pressure once, I had a scale of preference. So I delegated the work to people.
We can't hear her again.
We can't hear you, Hadiza. So Nadisa's network has gone out. So while we're waiting for her, Dr. Uchenna Ego, do you want to?
Yeah, the responses, I mean, so far were really great. I mean, when that question comes your way, what they want to hear is your time management skills, how you can manage a task. For instance, in my workplace, I mean, I'm always being faced with
Sorry,
a
my
lot of.
network is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, you're back on track. Do you want to continue?
So let's continue. Dr. Ushe.
Okay. So, like I said, the responses were really great because each of the speakers highlighted where they have been in a situation that required them to prioritize and then go for things that were most important and then carry on until they achieve the goals. So when this question comes, just think about situations where you've been faced with so many tasks and you were able to make wise choices on which one to go first and how to delegate, like Hadisa was saying, how to delegate. And I think Precious also mentioned it, and how to prioritize the ones that were most important to achieve the result. I heard when Precious talked about compliance that was coming up and how she chose the one. And Hadisa also mentioned how she delegated. All those things are the kind of terms that are required. Like in my one place, whenever we're hiring, we always look out for people that use the right terminology, delegation, prioritization, and all that. For instance, let me give you an example. In my own workplace, I mean, there were situations where we're preparing for government's audit as an environmental manager. Audits what we do every now and then. And sometimes the audits come simultaneously with finalizing a lot of sustainability reports and all that, because in my workplace, we do a lot of reporting, audits and all that. Sometimes all of them come at the same time, and both sometimes have strict deadlines, and very high visibility. You must do them and meet the deadline. So many times I'm always responsible for contributing to all of them, both audit, both compliance and all that. And all these things must be submitted before deadline because they are all on budget in my workplace. You must do that. So myself, for instance, what I normally do is that I always assess the urgency of all the work because some of them don't have submission deadline, on the same day. Some might be 3 days before the other one. So I first assess them, which one has the earliest submission deadline, which one has a later submission deadline. When I've established that, what I normally do is to break down each deliverable into subtasks. Which one are tiny bits of this work that can be cleared first? When I have done that and estimate the time I need to finish them, the next thing is that I delegate. I look for people that work under me that can handle different components of the work very well. Even as you guys are studying data analytics, there are some people that understand it very well. If we want tutors in data analytics, we can delegate. This person, you are very good with Power BI. Can you handle the next set of students? That's delegation. That's exactly what they're asking you. Even in that thing you'll be delegated to do, you might identify the people you are teaching that are so good. You might give them some task to mentor other people. That's what the employer is asking for, to know how you delegate. So myself, I normally delegate tasks based on strength, okay? And then I set up a quick check in meetings with all the people I delegated to know how they are measuring up, if they need any support or if they need any information, okay? During that meeting, I also get updates to know if there's any area I need to intervene, And what I normally do on my own side is to block out time, because we have a timetable where you put whether you are free or whether you can take on more tasks. I block out tasks to minimize distractions, and make sure that everything is focused on the task deadlines. At the end of the day, I always realize that I meet up in all the tasks because of the prioritization and then the delegation. So that's how myself meet up with that. So during interviews, highlighting all these things are just what you need. And the people that have said something so far really did very well.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. That's good. So, we don't have a lot of time. So what we want to do now is, if you want us to answer any interview questions, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat so that we can take those questions. Is there any question you feel like, oh, you don't know, you are not sure if you're answering it very well during the interview, or you want clarification on the responses, or you want to answer it here, and then we'll hear you answer it and say, no, it's not the right way, or you can actually remove this, then please, this is the time. Let's use these few minutes to deal with your concerns. So I have two hands up. Any other person, you can put it in the chat as well. So I have number one, Hadiza, number two, Precious. So Hadiza, go for it. Bring the question in. We can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you, Hadiza.
Yes, ma'am. So, when being asked, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Let me just, okay, I've been to one interview and I was asked, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? So what's the perfect response to that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, Precious, let's hear your own question. Let's take all the questions now.
Okay, thank you. So the question I have to ask is this: if you ask a question on maybe diversity and inclusion, equality, how do you answer that kind of question?
So that's a good question as well. So let's take it one after the other. Hadiza, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So answer it. Let's hear
Yes, ma'am.
you. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Answer that question.
But I don't know. Okay.
He doesn't know where.
That's why I'm asking, because it's one tough question.
You see, it's very important that you know where you see yourself in the next 5 years. So if you ask me that question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I would say, okay, Chukwuemeka has your answer.
Yes.
Answer it for us, please.
Yes, that question was actually thrown to me in my last interview I went last 2 weeks. That was a care job anyway, support work, a care work. So I told them that
Are you laughing at yourself?
I actually went for care assistant role, and I told them that I'm expecting to be in the next 5 years. I'm expecting to be at the level of assistant manager.
Okay, go on.
Because they look at my CV, they've seen that I've done MBA, and they asked me, because of that interview, they asked me, so why don't you go to management? What are you doing in care? I told them that this UK experience thing, that I've actually applied for a lot of so many roles, but that UK experience has been a barrier. So hence why I want to start from this level. But in the next 5 years, I'm expecting myself to be at the level of assistant manager. I don't know whether that was right.
That was not the right answer at that particular time. Does that make sense? It's a good response, a very, very good response. So if I'm asked, or you're asked, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So the people interviewing you, what they want to hear is, are you someone that can be relied to still be with your organization, or you are just a passerby? Some people can just, come in and go out. So they want to hear if you will still be working with them in the next 5 years, if you're going to be taking any trainings to improve yourself, if you're someone that improves yourself. So I would say in the next 5 years, I see myself still working with your organization. I see myself already taking a lot of trainings to improve myself so that I can be able to mentor other junior workers in my capability. Does that make sense? I see myself collaborating in different areas of the organization and learning more about the business. I see myself grown or being promoted to a more senior role. So you don't need to mention any role at all. Does that make sense?
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Does that
Yes.
make sense? Yeah. So you would say I would have improved myself to have been promoted in a more senior role. So it means that growth. So you would have grown in the next 5 years.
So I don't have
So
to be specific.
no, you don't have to specific in answering this particular question. So you would
yeah.
have taken trainings to that. Now you don't know the trainings that you're going to be taking. It's just like today, you don't know what is going to happen in the next minute.
So
Okay, you have
see,
been taking trainings as well. Yeah, go on,
see,
Dr. Ushe.
see how I normally answer the question. First of all, before the interview itself, I will search about the company to know their commitment to growth, and their vision in the next few years. You need to know their vision in the next few years. So when you have known their vision, you put it down as your own vision too. And you also have to develop that leadership mindset. Will you remain a baby employee every year? You need to grow to the extent that you'll be able to mentor new employees that will be coming in.
They're coming in.
Then you also demonstrate strategic thinking. How will you strategically support your operation? And then your ambition must be realistic. For instance, if you throw that question to me, I will tell you that the next 5 years, I want to be a program manager in this organization. Or let's say I wasn't a manager at time already. I might tell them, because in our management, in the place I work, we have manager 1, manager 2, manager 3, manager 4. So I can tell them that in the next 5 years, I want to reach the rank of manager 2 or manager 1, depending. So I will tell them that the reason is that at that particular time, I would like to be contributing to the success of the organization, and shaping best practices, okay, and even helping to build their image internationally. I'll support their international initiative and cross-sector collaboration. Whether you want with stakeholders, whether I want to the government, that I want to be in the position to help the company or the organization to drive their own initiative. That I've even seen that their initiative in the 5 years time is to do X, Y, Z. That my own initiative is also that. With that, you've aligned your own initiative with their own, which means you'll be working in the interests of your employer. That is why, before you go for any interview, study about them. Don't be lazy. Study about them. Get all those things they say they want to do. Align it with your own vision. Tell them that's also what you want.
That's very true. So, but in the situation whereby you don't know exactly the roles, in the organization, you don't have to specific. You just tell them that you want to be promoted to a more senior role in the organization, and then you want to also be contributing to the organizational success. So that question shouldn't be too long, but make sure you cover a lot. Definitely, you should have grown in the next 5 years. Okay. So we also have another question. Does anybody else have a question here? We have here, must you respond to interview last question? Do you have any question? I think it's a very good thing to have a question. And one of the most beautiful questions to ask is, what advice would you give to a successful candidate for this role? Then you can rephrase it for them. Assuming I am hired for this role, what advice would you give to me to be able to do well in the role? It's a very good question to ask, because you don't really know what I found this very, very helpful. The last job I got, I asked this question, and the boss basically told me, this is what you will do that will make me impressed in this role. So if I didn't ask that question, I wouldn't be able to know, how to manage or work with this kind of person. So it's good to ask a question that is very relevant. If you don't have a question, it's good, but this particular question, I think everybody here should be able to ask such questions. Yeah? Chukwemeka, you're raising your hand.
Yes, thank you. Actually, in that my last interview I attended, they equally asked me this question. They equally asked me, "Do you have any question for us?" Which I know it will be a dumb thing if I say I don't have question. So I now asked them. The question I asked them was, "What if I'm being hired? What will be my KPI?" And to my surprise, they don't know what the meaning of KPI. Going back to what Doc said. So now I have to tell them that he said, "What's KPI?" I said, "Key performance indicator." They want me to explain what key performance indicator or indices means. And I was like, "What are you going to be using to measure me, my performance, whether I'm doing well or not?" They were like, oh. And at the end of the day, they didn't actually give me a straightforward answer to that.
Okay, and that is because they might not know what to use to measure you at that particular time. Okay. And let me tell you something about interviewers.
Yes, I think you're right, because they are
person,
HPR, they are not the manager. They are
yes,
from
exactly what I
HR
wanted to
department.
say.
Yeah.
Because the interviewers, their job is just to do the recruitment and then hand you over to the people that you are going to be working with. Okay.
Exactly.
You are just lucky most times if the manager is going to be there for the interview. It's just on a short little occasion. But in most cases, it's not even the people interviewing you that you're going to be working with. So they might not know what to use to measure you. So the best questions to ask is, what advice would they give to you to do well the role? Does that make sense? Yes. What kind of team will you be working with? If they know, they'll answer it. And then, what problem is the organization facing now that requires urgent or immediate attention that I can come in to take over immediately? Does that make sense? So
yes,
I think these are kind of questions you can ask, but it's very good to definitely do have a question. But if you don't have a question, you can tell them you don't have a question. But if you don't have a question, it might also limit your chances. Precious, yeah? We have a lot of questions here, even though we don't have time anymore. So let's see how far.
Please.
Okay.
You haven't answered my own question on EDI initiative. And then secondly, I wanted to ask if Dr. Ochena, you keep talking about researching like the interviewer or something. If you have a situation where you can't find the interviewer, say on LinkedIn or to just sort of know, understand who the interviewer is, how do you
you don't need to know interviewers, yeah.
Like, how do you research the interview or something if you can't find the person on LinkedIn or something?
No, you don't need to know the interviewer. You need to know the organization. Okay? So if COSENG is interviewing with you, COSENG will be online, isn't it? Precious, feedback, please. Yes. COSENG will be online. So if I'm the one interviewing you, Beatrice, so you are not going there to research Beatrice because I'm just a person. You're going to research COSENG Limited because you're going to be answering questions based on COSENG Limited and the role inside the COSENG Limited and not me in person. So being able to reach me doesn't still guarantee that you are going to get the job. But being able to research the organization, I think every organization is online for them to call you for an interview. But if they're not online, they would be able to send you a document detailing who they are and some information that pertains to them. Does that answer your question, Precious?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, please. In as much as you want to get in touch with the recruiter or the hiring manager is good, but it is not the ultimate, because you can still go for the interview and you won't be hired because you need to research the organization proper. Okay.
Can I quickly take some questions because of time?
Yes.
Somebody is asking, why do you want to leave your current role for another role in a different field? So if that question comes to me during an interview, what I will tell you is this, is that while I have gained valuable experience and developed strong skills in my current role, okay, I have come to realize that my true passion lies in this one I'm looking for, this new one. Do you get what I mean? You are telling them while you have been on your field for a long time, you have come to realize that passion, because one of the things that will make an employer to hire you for a job is your passion for it. They don't want you to do a job where you feel you were imposed or something was imposed on you. You tell me that you've realized that your passion lies on this one you are coming for. Okay, that over time that you've taken deliberate step, okay, such as, let's say you've done data analysis training with COSENG, you've done Google training, you've watched many channels on data analytics, and with that you have built your passion, and you have even done some training and certification. If you have some certification, you mention them. You've done X, Y, Z. You also make sure you volunteered. Let's say you do training with COSENG, you can volunteer with Joybringers or any other organization. When you mention your training and you're volunteering in the new role that you have built your passion, it shows them that you have even taken extra steps, to demonstrate that this new role you're looking for, that you are really passionate about it. But tell them that why you have done that is to prepare yourself for the transition to the new role that you are being interviewed for. Okay, so that is very important. They will tell them that you are excited, okay, to apply all the transferable skills you have, okay, in your previous role, that you apply them to your new role, and that it will help you to contribute meaningfully, okay, to their organization, and that you believe it will align with everything that they need to achieve their long-term goals.
Let me quickly answer Precious' question before we just round up. How would you support our equality, diversity, and inclusion initiative? Okay, that question is very, very important because every organization take it very seriously. So how you answer that question, you say, I am very excited for the fact that your organization, okay, supports equality, diversity, and inclusion because I want to work in an organization where equality and diversity is. So I will support this initiative by ensuring that I work with I treat my colleague with respect, because that is what he's talking about. Does that make sense? I treat my colleague with respect, respecting the culture of the organization and also upholding our values with utmost importance. That's what they are asking about. Okay, so it's a very short question, but the key thing is that you will treat your colleagues with respect and value their organizational policies and procedures. Okay, Precious?
Yeah, I'll also add that in addition to treating them with respect and value, tell them that you will make everybody to feel empowered to contribute. Create that opportunity where everybody will be empowered and not doing something that will discourage people from speaking up. You make sure that you promote an inclusive environment where everyone feels respected, valued, and empowered to contribute. Yes. Where everybody feels empowered and freedom to speak up, be themselves.
So because some organization, when you want to speak, your point of view is not valued. That is not diversity. So make sure you add all those points.
Even using inclusive language, like in this country where they have he or she, and they no longer call women, no definition for women. You tell them you will be using inclusive language and support them even in their diverse practices and all that. You really need to mention that because some people always feel so reluctant to adapt to those changes.
So we have one more question. What is a database? Okay. Data warehouse. Data houseware or data warehouse. It should be data warehousing. And what is their difference? Okay. So this is more of a data analytics question. You just tell them that a database is a container that holds related tables together. Okay. Also, a data warehouse is a container that also holds databases together or related databases. So they are the same, it's just different terminologies. A database and a data warehouse are the same. Okay, their differences is just that a database could be stored locally while a data warehouse is mostly cloud-based. Does that make sense? where data can be pulled automatically.
And I just want to add to, when you come to database and data warehouse, the thing is that when you look at a database is always much more current. Warehouse is more like a historical aggregate data that is repository, You keep updating database, but data warehouse doesn't always have that current real-time data issue, okay? But data warehouse has the historical aggregate stored there. So that's why you hear people saying update database, because it has to be current with information.
Yes, that is it, guys. Any other question? Otherwise, we are done for the day. Thank you, everybody.
Somebody
What will you do
says,
if you see staff?
what will you do if you see a staff violating, if you see a staff
being unethical and unprofessional? You report it.
You report. You don't waste time. If you don't report, they will accuse you and report you. So once you see such a thing, you report it immediately. You don't waste time. Just look for a senior and report it. And in reporting it, report it in writing, so that there will be evidence that you reported it.
Then you give them an example. So don't just say, I will report it. You give them an example. You tell them that in your previous job role, you find out that one of your staff was taking bribes. So you found out and reported it to the senior management team, and they took a legal action against the staff, and the staff was dismissed, and also the organization was able to maintain their reputation as an organization. Does that make sense? To give them an example where somebody violated the law, you reported it, you saved the organization, their reputation, and you were also promoted.
So, and when you are saying that, use the right term. Tell them that what they are talking about is whistleblowing policy.
Yeah.
But what they are just asking you, whistleblowing. So when they ask it that way, and you now use the right terminology, yeah, that you usually uphold the whistleblowing policy of any organization you work for in the past, that when things are not done the right way, using the organization policy, what you do is to report it and escalate it. Period.
Okay, that's it, guys. Any other question? Otherwise, thank you. So please, before we go, COSENG, we do have a services for mock interview sections. It's not free. So if you want to book a one-to-one mock interview section, it's actually £20 per hour. But we just decided to do this for free. So if you have an upcoming interview and you want a detailed one-to-one section, because going for interview every time is not easy, but you can actually do it for once and then that's it. So if you want to nail it just once, you can always get in touch. You can go to our website, coseng.co.uk/interview bookings. Then you book for an interview slot and we'll get in touch with you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for attending. If you have any question, you can get in touch. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, the section will be tailored to the role you are interviewing for. So when you're filling the form online, you would put in some details. What is the role you are interviewing for? Sorry, I think someone is joining back. We'll ask you on the form online, what is the role you're interviewing for? What is the company you're interviewing for? It just gives us the guide to go and, also make a research for you so that we can tailor your own interview to the role you're applying for. Okay, and then we'll support you 100% to make sure that you are covered. You cover every bit and piece for that interview section and the particular role you're applying for. Okay? Thank you. Please, will the recording be sent to the WhatsApp forum? Yes, we'll send the recording to the WhatsApp forum. It will be ready in the next 48 hours. It's just for us to make sure that anywhere there's noise, we'll just take them out and then put it in the group. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the section. We have a feedback link. You can give us a feedback on our website as well. I'll put it in chat here in case if you want to do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye. COSENG review.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.